this site, it's what divides the river from the old town. It was framed to us quite clearly that arguably this was the gateway to China.
It was a connection point that connected new China to old China. So we were drawing from the old and drawing from the new and fusing those together into a development which then hung together as one thing, so that when you go into the Bund Financial Centre, you know you're in it.
Foster and Partners and my studio have been interested in the largest scale, but also understanding the implications at the experience scale. We were just thinking, how do we do something that feels like it comes out of some established cultural base, and the material of the stone that's millions of years old, hand carved, it felt that it gave a sophistication that was unexpected juxtaposition of materials, both the most modern and the most old, traditional and historic.
Our thinking on the design was, how do you produce something which outwardly is of interest and outwardly adds something to the urban environment around it, while inside providing an environment which is flexible enough to develop as the foundation develops.
The brief for the project was to be as adaptable and usable in multiple ways as possible. There's largely office towers, then there's retail space, and then there's subterranean, more major space with shops and other kinds of functions all stitched together. But then in the heart of the development, there was also a cultural building called the Facade Foundation. So that was like a kind of jewel that would be discovered as you came through the different spaces we were making. A big aspect with the project was making a kinetic building. This idea of, could you make an architectural curtain? And if you could, then you could have a curtain that you could open up to the square or close down and open up to the river. They can overlap and create extraordinary optical effects.
You can do things in China which you couldn't do elsewhere. So it was possible to go out and find people who would make you a bespoke track to carry this sort of curtain, and it was possible to look at how materials are bent and folded and how we could achieve the aesthetic effects we were trying to achieve. We were approaching it from what's the culture, what's the environment, what's unique about the place, what will the people do, how will the people move, and it was all those factors that then began to influence what the building looked like.
As projects get bigger and bigger, it still really matters how something feels and the bits you touch. That for me was powerful in the sense of the process that I felt that we were going through, and it felt that that was something that we actually really had that in common, which I loved.